First video on using Unity to create 2D tile maps. The first thing that we should look at is the screen layout for Unity. So firstly, there's the sample scene and the main camera that's visible in the hierarchy. This is where all your objects will be listed that are in your game. The other thing in the right here is the inspector. If I click on the main camera, you get all its properties and you can change those as necessary. What we're going to do today and we're going to look at is in this project window, we're actually going to install or import the Sunnyland asset. I've watched a couple of videos on how to get assets from the and use them from the asset store, and I really want to make a shout out to Brackeys and also to Jellyfish Studios for helping me learn a little bit about tile sets and how they work and how to create tile maps. I'm predominantly making this for my own students, but for anyone who wants to learn Unity. Alright, my name's Sam Pennington and I will hopefully be able to take you through how to create a tile map. Alright, so firstly the other thing we need to look at is this is the project window and this is where all our assets are. And I'm going to go up to Window and I'm going to look at the Package Manager. And in Package Manager, this is what's already installed. I'm doing a 2D animation, so I selected 2D when I started up. The thing I want to look at now is the assets that I have already, that I've already downloaded. I need to import the Sunnyland asset into my current project. So I'm going to import this asset, and I'm going to choose everything that's in the package, and I'm just going to import all of it. So you can get this from the asset store, and in a moment you'll have in the asset store, in the project, in the project pane, in the asset folder, you'll actually have a Sunnyland. You'll have Sunnyland listed there now. So in here you have artwork and you have scenes. So the thing that I need to do first is I need to get the tile map or the tile palette over here next to the inspector. So the first thing you do is you go down to 2D. In the window menu and you open the tile palette. Once you've opened the tile palette, you actually dock it. Now, this is something I had to learn from another video, is how to dock. You actually take the name and you pop it next to the inspector, and then it will pop in here. So there's the inspector still, and here is the tile palette. The next thing that you need to do is you need to create a place for these tiles. They'll come in a tile set, and you need to put them into a tile palette. So that's how I understand it. So let's look in the artwork folder. Let's have a look at the artwork first. In the artwork, you've got environment, which gives you things like the background and a whole bunch of props that you can use, such as bushes and a house and a whole lot of fun little icons that you can put on the screen. And I'm going to start with the background first. So I'm going to pop a background on first. So I've got something to put my pictures onto. So I'm going to take this background. Now, as you can see, I've popped it onto where the camera is, and now there's an object there called back. I can now just resize this to whatever size I want just by dragging the corners. And so if you see up here in the corner up here, you can see the hand and the expanding tool. This one's the one you can use to expand the edges. Now, if I go to an inspector, I'm actually on the back, so you will get the properties of the background, and you can actually change the positions here. I'm a maths person, so I like to look at where they actually sit, and sometimes I'd like to say, oh, I want to change them to be exactly a certain size. So I actually quite like that size, so I'll leave it at that for the moment. At this moment in time, the order in layer for the background is 0. We want everything else to be on top of that, so that will help later on. So let's go to tile palette now. In the tile palette, what we're going to do is we're going to look down here at the tile sets. So this tile set here, if you expand it out, the one on the left-hand side, if you expand it out, you can see all of the tiles that are inside the tile set for the Sunnyland asset. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to the tile palette and I'm going to create a new tile palette. So I'm going to call this tile palette. Now, my video may seem very similar to Jellyfish. That's because I learned from them, but I wanted to make a video and just predominantly, as I said, for my own students, but also There aren't a lot of videos for this type of thing with people with an Australian accent, so I thought it would be really good if we had some videos, and particularly females doing videos on Unity. There aren't a lot, predominantly males, and I just wanted to put something different out there, different sound, and obviously from me. All right, so tile palette, we're going to do that. We're going to create this. It'll be in a folder. Okay, so I'm going to create this, and I'm going to go into environment, and I'm going to go back to the Sunnyland. I'm going back to the assets, and I'm going to create a new folder here. I'm going to create a new folder, and that folder is going to be called tile. I'm just going to call it tiles, and I'm going to put it and create that. And inside, I'm going to choose this folder for things to be saved into, because it's going to extract all these tiles out into the tile palette. But before I do that and do anything else for this, I'm going to add a new object to the main hierarchy. And the thing I'm going to add is I'm on a Mac, so everything's pretty much the same on a PC. I have to control click to get right click, but for a Mac you would, so PC you would just right click here, select 2D object, and then you would go tile map, and I'm going to select rectangular. Right. So now I have a grid over my screen, which is really good, so that I can place these objects. Now, one other thing I need to do is on the tile set, if I go to the inspector for the tile set, the pixels per unit are actually set at 100, and they need to be set for this one. I'm setting them to 16, so that's the one I'm doing. You can see the tile palette down the bottom, and I'm going to set it to 16 pixels per unit, and that will help. There's another, and you need to apply that. There's another video I also watched that's about making a tile set from someone else's, a tile palette from someone else's tile set, which I can also make a video on, because that was really fun seeing how the actual process of making a tile set. I had a student once who spent so much time on his tile set, and I said, "You can actually get your project done?" He goes, yeah, it takes longer to make the graphics sometimes than it does the rest of it, because he was a good coder. But sometimes they're good coders, but they're not good at graphics, or they're good at graphics and they're not such good coders. It's an interesting that the students that have a balance to that tend to make the best projects. All right, so in the tile palette, I'm going to take all of these objects here, which I've already set up the folder. I'm going to click the first one, and I'm going to shift click the last one, and I'm going to pull them all across. And what will happen is it'll take that tile set and it will create for us a tile map, but I need to find that folder that I used before, the tiles one, choose that, and what you'll see now is it basically pulling out all those tiles from the tile set and creating this individually mapped tile map, and there they all are. Beautiful. All right, so the next thing we need to do is we need to paint something on this screen. I'm not the world's best graphic artist. Don't pretend to be, but I'm going to use this to draw my, if it's not working, one of the things that may not be working is the tile map at the moment, the grid. The tile map is actually set at the same level. I probably just put those underneath. So if you want it to be on top, you better set that the tile map itself is actually on top of the screen, of the background. So that helps. Okay, so we go back to tile map, and I'm still on paintbrush. As you can see, that was not quite the right one. I need to make sure I select the correct shapes. That looks better. And then I can make my tile map. So I can make some dirt under here as well, and then I can make a few little things here. I can make sure when you're popping these down that you actually get pieces in the right spot. If you want to put, say, dirt or whatever underneath, see, that doesn't quite work. So what you need is a little tiny one just here that actually has a corner piece on it. If you put that there, and then maybe one here, it is good for, like, if you want to have a dip. I think what I'll probably do is just continue this on for a little bit, have a dip, then come back up again. And I would need to do, obviously, the reverse. I'm quickly going to put my tiles on here, and then I might come back up again. I might come back up, and we'll get to here, and then I'll come back up. I've just got to finish off a few more parts to that. I want that one, and actually what I really want is a spot here for a house. So I'm going to change this a little bit so that I can make my shape a little bit better. So I want that one there instead, and then I'm going to take this one out and pop this one in its place. That doesn't look perfect, but I'm getting there. So I want a one for there, and let's just tidy this up a little bit, and that should probably just about do it. And I need one more here. That'll do. That looks nice enough to make a, a quick scene. You see, I need to put some dirt or something under here. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm going to cover up my background, otherwise, oops, undo. Oh, just click and drag. I'm just going to pop that on around there, and I'll just go all the way so that you don't see that. You don't want to see that blue background. Okay, so the next part's great when your kids send you a text message right in the middle of your video. That's okay. At least he said he loved me. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to go back to props, which is artwork, and then there's in props. I'm just going to pop a few things on in props. I think I will put these straight on, like I'm going to grab them. I've done my tile set, I've used that, so I'm going to put, oops, I'm still on the brush, so I need to go to that arrow, and now I just need to put a few things on, and if I put a few things on, oh, look how small that is. It's tiny. Oh, it's tiny. Very, 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 very tiny. The bush is now part of an object, so notice the tile map is actually an object itself, and then you paint onto it, so you don't have to worry about it being individual objects for every single part of that tile map. The bush is, I'm going to scale this up to about 3. Oh no, I don't need to do the z-axis, of course. And you can just if you click on it and you get the move tool, you can just move these around a little bit if you want to. So that's fine. I'm going to put a house on. My house is not going to be that small. I find about 4 works. That actually in this particular background, I think 3 might be enough. And because I'm on that move tool, it should stay there with the background, it should stay like that. And I think I need a tree. I think a tree looks really good in this particular set. So the tree is going to be 3. No, I think the tree needs to be 4 because it's got to be bigger than the house in this particular instance. Well, trees at my house are a lot bigger than my trees at my place are a lot bigger than my house. So I think that's enough. That's enough objects for the moment. That's a good start. So let's have a look at their position, their order in layer. I'm going to make them all 1. I'm going to make the house 1. Later on, I'm going to make the if I get in this video, if I get to do the player, I'm going to put it on that. I'm going to put that on that layer as well. On the second, I'm going to make another layer ordered so it's in the front. I'm just going to play this scene, just see how it looks. I might adjust that background a little bit. So it's just going to render that and show me what my scene looks like. I'm getting these little marks between my tiles. I don't know why, but that's okay. So I'm going to go to the back, and I'm going to move my background just a little bit so that I'm going to also resize it, just so that it just covers where I'm working. There you go. It's a nice little scene. I'm not really sure why I've got those blue marks. But first of all, okay, that's how you create a tile set, and then paint it on, and then put your objects on top of your tile set, such as the bush and the house and the tree. And of course, later on, you could add collectibles and do all that sort of stuff. But some of those things need to be done once they're put on there. They need to also be coded. So this video and maybe my next couple won't be about coding at the moment. But that's my first video on how to create a tile map and put it on the screen. All right, thank you for watching.